Okay, we're back, and now we are on chapter 14, The Royal Family. And I have a little quote here by Bill Cooper, who's a legend, who said, "I believe that a grand game of chess is being played on a level that we can barely imagine, and we are the pawns." Okay, chapter 14. The kingdom of darkness is operated by Nephilim bloodlines here on earth. This black nobility's heritage traces back to Babylon. The Nephilim became the kings and queens of the ancient world, and their successors received the same divine right to rule because of their connection to the gods. According to Fritz Springmeier, author of The Bloodlines of the Illuminati, published in 2002, the Rothschilds' heritage can be traced back to Nimrod, and the Astor family was known as the Astarte Semiramis in Canaan. Apparently, the descendants of the ancient gods consist of less than 1% of the 1% that controls we the plebs, the 99%. So this is the elite royal blood, the Holy Family. It's understood that global Babylon expanded out of the Roman Empire, the last global empire. Nephilim HQ was divided into royal kingdoms, and the family became the aristocracy in Western Europe. These European powers, especially the British Empire, went global and ruled as colonial powers. Beyond royalty, royal houses, and aristocracy, the family moved into banking, politics, business, and the media. They also crossed the pond to found the New World, Washington, D.C., and so forth. As touched on, it's purported 13 generational satanic bloodlines rule the world. According to Springmeier, these infernal families are Astor, Bundy, Collins, DuPont, Freeman, Kennedy, Lee, Onassis, Rockefeller, Rothschild, Russell, Van June, and Merovingian bloodlines. Other Illuminati families closely tied to them include Disney, McDonald, Reynolds, Krupp, or have intermarried with them and obtained significant power on their own, like the Warburgs, Morgans, Bushes, Carnegies. Springmeier believes that Antichrist will be born from the 13th satanic bloodline. So these families share DNA. Incest is best, keep it in the family. Like our Queen Mother married her first cousin, and our Queen married her third cousin. Apparently, all US presidents are related by blood. They're all cousins except one, sharing the same great-grandfather, namely the former King of England. And Dick Cheney, Vice President George W. Bush, is Barack Obama's eighth cousin. Apparently, David Cameron is a distant cousin of the Queen, and Tony Blair is part of the family. Kate Middleton is also distant cousins of Prince William and George Washington, and apparently Meghan Sparkle is a direct descendant of King Edward III and is related to the Bush family and other presidents, including Nixon and Ford. The Bush family is related to every European monarch on and off the throne, like the Windsors, who renamed themselves to distract us from their German heritage during World War I, and the Bush family are descendants of Vlad the Impaler, so they're vampires, perhaps. Interestingly, it's highlighted that the royal family and almost all US presidents, including Donald Trump, have Rh-negative blood. About 10 to 15% of the population has this curious blood type. It's suggested it's a result of genetic mutations, whereas others suggest it's Nephilim blood. Those with this blood type tend to have higher IQ, psychic abilities, and they often have an extra vertebrae. And this blood type in pregnant mothers can kill babies if they're Rh positive. The royal bloodline thus has different degrees of pedigree, i.e. distant cousins and so forth. It's purported that whilst anyone can be possessed, Nephilim bloodlines are much easier to possess, and also the higher someone is in the Illuminati power structure, the more powerful their demons are. So these VIP families are vessels, human vessels, for the demonic to inhabit, and the notorious Rothschilds are especially haunted. According to Doc Marquis, who was a seventh-generation Illuminati witch but became a Christian whistleblower, there's hundreds of Illuminati families, but the Rothschilds are the head of the Illuminati. Papa Mayer Amschel Bauer, who changed his name to Rothschild, founded the modern banking world, and he co-founded the Bavarian Illuminati. By the mid-1800s, the Rothschilds were the richest family in the world. Intermarriage was family custom. In 1823, the Rothschild Bank took over the financial operations of the Catholic Church worldwide. They have central banks in almost every country, and they created the Federal Reserve in the US, a cartel of private banks. The Fed loans money to the US government, and taxpayers pay the interest. The US is currently in 20 trillion debt. It's insane. It's arguably curious that the Fed was established in 1913, and the next year World War I kicked off, not least because wars are hugely profitable for bankers, as they loan money to fight the wars and then to repair the war-torn countries. The Rothschilds have funded both sides of every war for the last 200 years, but it's further claimed they actively cook up these wars. David Icke concedes they manipulate wars, lend all sides money to fight them, and pick up the massive profits from the horrors they have secretly engineered. That's in page 175. It also seems pertinent to note that, like the Roman Catholic Church, the British, or rather German, royal family has a gruesome legacy. Together with the Rothschilds, they similarly murdered and fleeced the world for their blood-soaked trillions, like the drug and slave trade. Suffice to say, the family continues to manage these insanely lucrative industries as orchestrated by the CIA. The sheeple are, however, brainwashed like the royals. The millions spent on PR is evidently worth the money. Like Prince William and fun-loving Harry, who tragically lost their mum courtesy of the Queen's Secret Service MI5 and MI6. And how nice that Harry founded the Invictus Games in 2014, an international sporting event for injured servicemen and women, or not if the family orchestrates the war. Sol Invictus, which means unconquered sun, was the official sun god of soldiers. It was an official cult alongside the traditional Roman cults. Apparently Constantine, who Christianized the Roman Empire, was a follower of Sol Invictus until his deathbed, when he finally accepted baptism in the off chance the Christians were right. I am is the motto for the games, which means I am God. It seems Harry is on today's New Age page. Thus, we're led to focus on Meghan and Kate's attire, not the scandals that plague the royal family, like Prince Philip's pedo uncles and their pedo friends, plural, including royal BFF Jimmy Savile. Apparently, Uncle George Mountbatten had a huge collection of kiddie porn, as well as pictures of family orgies and bestiality, which was stored in the British Museum. And Lord Mountbatten was partial to the boys at Kincora's care home in Belfast. David Icke asserts that Lord Mountbatten introduced Savile into the inner circle in 1966 as he procured children for these royal degenerates. Savile was into the kids in Jersey's care home, dubbed the House of Horrors. Hundreds of crimes were carried out over decades. The torture rooms had shackles, etc. Sir Jimmy Savile, he was knighted by the Queen, which comes from the Templars, was Britain's worst sex offender. At least 500 victims from 1940 to 2007, most of them kids and teenagers, advised being molested, raped and beaten. They also described the perverted star's satanic practices, like at black mass ceremonies. It's claimed he wore a hooded robe and mask like the other devil worshippers, and together in a candlelit room they chanted Ave Satanas, which is Latin for Hail Satan. Such evenings would start with an orgy and then degenerate into darker activities, including necrophilia, as Savile was partial to corpses. His voluntary work at the hospitals gave him access to the morgues. It's purported that Savile was in the Ninth Circle, like the Royals, which is a satanic cult. Apparently, the Ninth Circle was created by Jesuits 3 years before the Bavarian Illuminati was created. It said Jesuit black magicians are at the very top of the satanic New World Order pyramid, second only to Satan and his demons. During their ritual ceremonies, they sacrifice children to Satan. It said the child, who's usually 5 or 6, is raped and killed. The victim is disemboweled and dismembered. Blood is drunk by all and flesh is eaten. Apparently, the Ninth Circle was commissioned by Satan to control all child sacrifice cults worldwide, and according to investigations, all organised satanic cults come under the auspices of the Jesuit Ninth Circle. So there's centralised control. It's understood Jesuits control the Pope, but it's further said Jesuits are there to make sure every Pope is a Satanist and initiated into the Ninth Circle so that the devil can take possession of the Pope at any time. Thus, the satanic sacrificial rituals of popes and Jesuits take part in allows them to be possessed and controlled by Satan. Jesuits rule the mafia, and all organised gangs come under the mafia. They work in conjunction with intelligence agencies like the CIA, MI5 and MI6, and Mossad, the Israel's intelligence. It said Jesuits rule the Illuminati. It's also noted the Queen's ex-butler, Paul Kidd, ran a pedo ring for 30 years while serving the royal family. Another teenage boy who worked at Buckingham Palace revealed he was abused by a VIP pedo ring there and at Balmoral. He said he was a victim of exploitation of the highest order. Myriad politicians have also been exposed, including Ted Heath. But fortunately for these deplorables, Lord Britain lost a dossier in 1984 which contained over 100 documents of allegations of sexual abuse, which was fortunate for him because he was a named pedo. Apparently, Savile procured children for Uncle Teddy. Uncle Teddy was known for taking boys from the care home in Jersey on his yacht, aptly dubbed the Death Ride, because after sexually abusing them, he would toss the kids into the sea. And let's not forget about Prince Andy's BFF, Jeffrey Epstein, who convicted pedo, who was seemingly suicided in prison. and the haunted VIPs who visited Epstein's orgy island and enjoyed a trip on his private jet, the Lolita Express. Like the Clintons, Bill went at least 26 times. Other prominent American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, and other world leaders, including Tony Blair, as well as famous actors and other celebrity gimps, went there. Pedo Island notably had a blue and white temple with a gold dome, which suggests rituals took place inside. Apparently the walls are soundproof and people were locked in from the outside. Kids' skulls and bones were found in the waters around the island. Hundreds of underage girls were abused at Epstein's parties, but not by Prince Andy. He did not sexually abuse Virginia Roberts Guthrie. He was at home after attending a Pizza Express. A party at Pizza Express. Okay. And lest we forget the Pizzagate scandal in 2016, the satanic sex trafficking ring in Washington, D.C., which involved the most powerful people, including top politicians, intelligence, and lobbyists. It just goes on and on. Scandal after disgusting scandal. Like the White House call boy prostitution scandal in the late 1980s, which tied into the Franklin cover-up. Thus, Larry King was the manager of the Franklin Credit Union, which he stole $40 million from. And he procured children for his elite buds from a Catholic orphanage for boys in Nebraska. These children were flown into Washington, D.C. for sex parties. King was known for chartering private jets and having extravagant parties. He was also known for his devil-worshipping cult, which included ritual sacrifice and cannibalism of children. In 1998, several of King's victims came forward. They claimed King took them to lavish parties where they were sexually abused by key officials of the Reagan and Bush administration, military officers, congressional aides, and US and foreign businessmen with close ties to Washington's elite. According to Paul Bonacci, one of the victims, George H.W. Bush was present at several of these parties when he was vice president to Reagan. Bonacci accused King of running an underage prostitution ring and victimizing him from 8 years old. Bonacci was notably one of the call boys who toured the White House at midnight. He won $1 million lawsuit against King, but apparently King never paid. A web of criminal enterprises operated by the CIA had close ties with King's sex trafficking ring like drugs and arms. It's also noted the chief investigator for the Franklin scandal, who apparently had information to blow the case wide open, conveniently died in a plane crash. Ted Gunderson, ex-FBI chief, conceded the government is corrupt at the highest levels and the CIA runs a show, like drugs, arms, and pedo rings worldwide. He confirmed, the world is ruled by a satanic cult. Kids are bought and sold at auctions like cattle. Literally, they're dressed in their underwear and have a tag around their neck with a number on it, and people bid. Apparently, Bonacci attended 6 human auctions. Gunderson concedes the Illuminati has infiltrated all areas of society, including the church, and asserts they've achieved 90% of their goals, like corrupt the youth through sex and drugs, control the media, destroy religions. He also insists 9/11 was an inside job. It also seems pertinent to mention Ronald Bernard, who was an elite Dutch banker who exposed the Illuminati. He explains how he surreptitiously rang the central banks, which included crashing the Italian economy. But moreover, he claimed the cabal uses child sacrifice to test and blackmail its members, including politicians around the world. Like he was asked to sacrifice a child at a satanic party, but he couldn't. After this, he quit and then he blew the whistle. He concedes that Luciferians have been doing this for thousands of years. He stated, I realised there was more to life than meets the eye. There is a whole invisible world. It is real. He was subsequently bumped off. Fiona Barnett, a victim of a VIP sex trafficking ring in Australia, gives us further insight into the satanic antics of the royal family. Like at a black mass ceremony in Bathurst City Hall in 1985, she reported the ritual sacrifice of a fully pregnant woman and her unborn baby. Barnett said the congregation she enchanted, Hail Satan, Lucifer, son of the morning. The screaming woman was pinned down and cut from her chest to her pelvic bone using a ceremonial dagger. Barnett states blood was pissing out everywhere like a waterfall and they pulled the baby out. They used a chalice to collect the baby's blood and chopped the baby up, placing it on a gold platter. Barnett further claims that 10 kids aged 8 to 10 were lined up on stage. The kids were under hypnosis, so they didn't move. Then one of the leaders went behind each child and decapitated them with a samurai sword. She recalls how each kid fell. Those present were apparently very sexually aroused. Then the leader took one of the heads to Barnett and sternly said, Take ye, eat. She was made to take a bite out of the face. Barnett claims the whole sordid event ended up in a paedophile orgy in which she was gang raped, including by Rosaline Kutcher, Australian Human Rights Commissioner, who urinated in her mouth. Barnett concurs that Luciferian paedophiles have infiltrated all areas of Australian government, education, police, media, universities, defence forces, politics, schools, health services, churches and psychiatric hospitals. Unlike drug trafficking, global child trafficking is run as a single coordinated operation through the CIA in collaboration with the British and Australian intelligence services. Barnett claims she was trafficked to international VIPs both within Australia and abroad. She would be gassed and put on a crate like an animal. Barnett concedes that Luciferianism is arranged according to a hierarchical structure which vaguely resembles a caste system. At the very top sit 13 family dynasties, including the Rothschilds and the British royal family. She states these families are recognised by the cult as demigods. Below them sit approximately 300 Luciferian bloodlines who are generally high IQ, although this tends to be watered down in some families due to intermarriage. Below this group sit the commoners, who can never attain higher status because they lack the desired blood. They are from random covens, referred to as coven scum. Barnett claims she was one of the 300 bloodlines via her paternal grandparents. So, children are born into this, and they invariably have dissociative identity disorder, like Barnett did. As mentioned, satanic ritual abuse creates dissociative identity disorder. Barnett highlights that trauma-based mind control to create dissociative identity disorder is a Luciferian tradition that stems back millennia. As discussed, the Nazis' mind control operations crossed the pond after World War II, and the CIA perfected their haunted science. Max Spears, another MKUltra victim who was born into this, and who was bumped off in 2016 for blowing the whistle, concedes that MKUltra didn't begin at World War II, but rather 5,000 years ago. Another CIA mind control victim is Cathy O'Brien. In her book Transformation of America, which was published in 1995, she exposes the satanic antics of George H.W. Bush, the Clintons, Dick Cheney and various others who she claimed raped her and her daughter Kelly. Cathy and her daughter were sex slaves, and they were forced to witness and partake in human sacrifice and cannibalism. Excuse me. Cathy claims Kelly's primary abuser was Father George Bush. Cathy also informs that Ronald Reagan loved bestiality porn, and that both her and Kelly were forced to have sex with animals to make dirty movies for him, so-called Uncle Ronnie's bedtime stories. Cathy also describes a most dangerous game, which is human hunting. It appears these sadistic freaks play cat and mouse with people. They strip their victims naked and turn them loose into the wilderness, i.e. top-secret military base or compound, only to hunt them down with dogs. Mind-controlled adults and children are forewarned about the consequences should they get caught in the hunt, namely brutal rape and death. Cathy states she was stripped down to her tennis shoes and given a head start before getting hunted down. It's noted the victim's terror gives a hunter his desired blood full of adrenaline. Terrorized blood is full of adrenochrome, which is produced when adrenaline oxidizes. It has psychoactive properties which produces a potent high. David Icke explains the fear-induced hormone is like LSD, which enables interdimensional communication through the pineal gland. Apparently, Hitler took mescaline and peyote to enhance his connection to the spirit world, and it said adrenochrome makes mescaline look like ginger beer. So they take a trip to the sky. Barnett also claims adrenochrome sexually arouses him. Barnett also pertained to human hunting. She claims she was dressed up like a teddy bear and hunted at the infamous Bohemian Grove, which is a massive redwood forest in California. She states they love getting kids to dress up as teddy bears and hunting them down in the dark. Bohemian Grove is dubbed the Illuminati Summer Camp. Every year, mid-July, the most powerful men of the world attend for a 2-week holiday. The membership list has included every Republican and some Democrat US president since 1923, as well as cabinet officials, directors, CEOs of large corporations, including major financial institutions, major military contractors, oil companies, banks, including the Fed, utilities and national media. Cathy O'Brien concedes that mind slaves are forced to serve the perversions of their abusers at Bohemian Grove. She advised that it caters for all kinds of perversions, like dark room, necrophilia room, leather room. She wrote, I was used as a rag doll in the toy store and as a urinal in the Golden Arches room, page 171. She claims there's lots of murders at Bohemian Grove and that slaves of advancing age are sacrificially murdered, those older than 30, or if their programming malfunctions. Bonacci claims he witnessed the murder of a young boy at Bohemian Grove in the summer of 1984. He states that he and another boy, Nicholas, were forced to have sex with a young boy who was naked and crying in a cage. Everything was filmed for the horrific porn. Besides the film crew, another man came and battered them. Bonacci and Nicholas were then put into the cage, and the rapist dragged the kid around, whose rectum was bleeding while having sex with him. Bonacci states the rapist was tossing the kid around like a bag of potatoes, slamming him all over the place. He then began kicking the kid in the face before shooting him in the head. Bonacci and Nicholas were then forced to have sex with the dead boy. One last CIA mind control victim we can consider is Bryce Taylor, because she corroborates the aforementioned, but she further names some demons in the entertainment industry. Ted Gunderson affirms that her story has been confirmed over and over again. See her book, Thanks for the Memories, The Truth Has Set Me Free, which was published in 1999. So Taylor claims she was sexually and satanically ritually abused from birth. She was pimped out to the CIA by her pedo father, like Kathy was. She states she was put through a trial of satanic blood rituals as a child, during which she witnessed animal and human sacrifices. As a sex slave, she was prostituted and forced to make porn, including bestiality. She claims many animals were used over the years, including dolphins. She also had sex with her daughter Kelly. Apparently, one of the porn films they made when Kelly was a very little girl was called Mommy and I. She was also hunted by Father George Bush in The Most Dangerous Game on Bob Hope's ranch. Comedian Bob Hope was her owner-handler, hence the title of her book. Taylor claims her abusers included JFK, Lyndon Johnson, Nelson Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, and Father George Bush. Besides being a sex slave, she claims she was a message and drug courier for every president from Kennedy to Clinton. Bryce also names people she was prostituted to in the entertainment industry, like Frank Sinatra, who was a violent and sadistic handler, Elvis Presley, Dean Martin, Bing Crosby, and Satanist Sammy Davis Jr. She also alleges actress Barbara Streisand is an MK Ultra mind control sex slave, but the list goes on. Apparently, Marilyn Monroe was the first mind-controlled sex kitten the Illuminati made public. It's noted that both celebrities and politicians are part of the royal family, like Hillary Clinton is cousins with Madonna and Angelina Jolie, and Ellen DeGeneres, or Degenerate, is related to Kate Middleton and Halle Berry, and Halle Berry is related to Sarah Palin, who is cousins with Barack Obama, and Oprah is distant cousins with Elvis, and Beyonce, Johnny Depp, and Larry David are cousins of the royal bloodline, and Madonna and Celine Dion are related to Camilla Parker Bowles, and Nicky Hilton married into the Rothschilds, and Tom Hanks is related to the Lincolns. In summary, there's millions of mind control victims worldwide, and most people never get free. The elite who pull the strings in our world are demon possessed. They are puppets for their master Satan. It's as insane as it sounds. It's said the Illuminati think we're stupid cattle. They mock us. Ronald Bernard's advice for humanity is that we must wake up and see what is really happening around us. I would add, before this life is over. No one wants to join this nefarious lot and smell sulphur for all eternity. Okay, that's just finished. So we'll stop here and go on to chapter 15.